Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt, and tonight we're sampling a bottle that is brand new to me, that I've practically never seen before. Weller. Look what the Matt dragged in. Tonight, we're cracking the seal on this son of a beal. It's Weller 12. Is this 12-year-old weeded bugger worth all the hype and all the price? Or is it just an average $40 sipper? I don't know, but we're about to find out. 1 week ago, I went on my cellular device. I checked my old Patreon page. Saw that there were messages. Waited for the Patreon page messages to load. 20 minutes later, click on a message from Rob Clark. Nailed it. Rob Clark says, "Hey Matt, I heard on a live stream last night that you've never had a bottle of Weller 12 before. Is that true?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's true." And Rob Clark was like, "Let me get you one." Fast forward 1 week later, and Rob Clark of the Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Backyard podcast, which you should probably go and check out, delivered this bottle by hand. Thank you, Rob Clark. I've always heard that this $40 bottle of bourbon isn't worth the $200+ it goes for on the schmecondary market. Although I've never had a bottle of this, I've been sent Weller 12 a couple times in blind flights, so I didn't know I was drinking it. This will be the first time I ever get to pour a glass of Weller 12 and analyze the heck out of it. Before I pour this pour of Weller 12, I think first of all I should just admire the aesthetics. The black on gold is very appealing. It looks really nice, and I kind of dig it. Now let's get the top off of this thing to find out if what's inside must be inside of me and my tum-tum. America. Weller, the original weeded bourbon, aged 12 years. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 45% alcohol by volume, 90 proof. Born in 1825, William LaRue Weller was one of the early whiskey pioneers in America. W.L. Weller marketed his original bourbon recipe with wheat rather than rye in the mash bill. Weller spent his lifetime educating consumers about the differences in his bourbon. Wheat is a soft grain, providing this bourbon with a mild, gentle, and smooth sipping experience. This fine 12-year-old bourbon whiskey has a deep amber color with complex flavors of vanilla, oak, and cinnamon. A tribute to the man who made weeded bourbon legendary. Let's give it 12 rotations for every year Weller 12 was in a barrel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The color that they call dark amber, I would call a medium amber. And what's floating in there? I got some particulates particulating up in this mother. They got a couple floaties in there. I would probably attribute the not dark amber color to the amount of water that they poured in this SOB to bottle it for you and bottle it for me. Go for a nose. Ooh. Hello. Good evening. Afternoon. Good night. Come on in. Come on in. Slip into something more comfortable. Come on over by the fireplace. Let me pour you a drink. Just kidding. Already poured it. Here you go. It's a delicious 12-year-old Weller. A Weller 12. Oh, yeah. The nose on this is wonderful. This provides the sweet vanilla cherry of the typical Buffalo Trace profile, but adds a nice deep, dark, sweet oak on top of it. It's like the sweetest oak cherry tree you've ever smelled. To be totally honest, when I opened this bottle, I did not think it was going to be that great, because a lot of people say Weller 12 is overrated. Weller 12 is not that great. Weller 12 can suck it. And I'm like, listen, I'll be the judge of that. I'll be the judge of what Weller 12 is sucking. And so far, it ain't sucking on the nose. Smells friggin' good. The lack of proof on the nose might be a good thing because it's very inviting. It's like, smell me deep and smell me hard. It's like a cherry vanilla oak tree that mated with a graham cracker. The Twin Bing candy bar is making some pretty significant strides in the direction of my nasal passages. Bit of a Twin Bing candy bar there, because there's some milk chocolate and definite cherry happening. Gonna cut to the chase and be totally honest. The nose is very impressive, definitely great. Reminds me of a very well-aged Buffalo Trace product, and I dig it. I friggin' dig it. I'm hoping to goodness that all the people out there who say that Weller 12 sucks, I'm hoping that you suck and that this is really good. Fingers are crossed, hoping that when I take a sip of this, it brings me to the dreamland where nobody wears shirts except for me, and it's filled with the most glorious bourbon whiskey and enchiladas down the hatch. That's good. It's good. It's good. It's missing proof. It's missing proof, dang it. Son of a mother. This bourbon wants to be so good. It wants to be so good. It is sweet and delicate. It's just extremely easy to drink. It reminds me of the Blantons that I reviewed last week. Extra silky smooth on the palate. And it just goes down the least offensive way possible. This product is even more delicate than the Blantons. It's a 90 proof wheated bourbon. It's just underproofed. The flavor profile is just delicious. It's just delicious. And by no means am I saying I don't like this, because I really like this. It's got a creaminess to it and a cherryness to it and an oakiness to it. Unfortunately, it's very thin. It's there and kind of gone. Oh, dang it. I wish this was better. If this were 100 proof, it would make all the difference. It's not complex. It's got one flavor with a sweetness hitting on the front and just zips back down the side of your tongue, and then the sweetness takes the roller coaster ride down the gullet, right down the tongue, past the flappy, and then into the stomach, and kind of disappears. This is a very good bourbon that could be great or phenomenal if they just didn't water it down so much. Let me say this, for $40, heck yeah, buy all day. Clear the shelf for 40 bucks. Heck yeah. For 50 bucks, heck yeah, buy it. For 60 bucks, buy it. But that's kind of where I'm at here. It's like a $60 bourbon. I know that people like to associate Weller with Pappy Van Winkle, and that's where the price hikes started coming into play. But secondary prices are ridiculous on everything. So I can see people paying $200 for something they've never had before. Like a $60 bourbon that is just being ramped up through the roof because it's a wheated Buffalo Trace product. I'm in the boat where I would have never bought this. I've never even seen a bottle of Weller 12. So for someone to send one to me, Rob Clark, you friggin' gangster, thank you so much, because this is an opportunity for me to dive behind the curtain and see what's really going on. And by behind the curtain, I mean on my tongue. You could sit here and just nose this all day. It's a great nosing bourbon. It just falls a little bit flat on the palate, unfortunately. It could be great or even amazing if they just put the extra proof into it. But they didn't. It's 90 proof and it's a 7.7. Weller 12, 7.7. That's my score. I'm sticking to it. It's very good, but It lacks complexity, which isn't a huge deal, but it lacks proof and mouthfeel and oiliness, and it just lacks that punch that you get that just makes you stop in your tracks and go, what the heck? Weller 12, 7.7. My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on having great friends like Rob Clark and listening to their podcast at the Food, Wine, and Whiskey in your backyard. Can't thank you enough for the gift. What the heck? You guys are amazing for just providing me with stuff like this to review. Friggin' love you, hard and fast. Everybody who watches, everybody who hits the thumbs up, who hits subscribe, who leaves a comment below, who joins my Patreon page, patreon.com/ADHD Whiskey. Everybody who is a part of this family, I love you so much. Thank you for being a part of it. And that is probably where I'll end this. Good night. Friggin' amazing. People are so nice.